There she is. There's Annabelle. Hey, welcome.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Welcome,
And
welcome.
good morning for me as I'm in Australia and it's 6 a.m.
It's Monday morning. You're in the future.
I'm already in the future. I'm already on the full moon. And yes, so nice to be here. So nice to be here.
We like a bit of full moon energy. I'll do an introduction of you. So this
Yes.
is Annabelle. She is a best-selling author and a life expansion expert.
Mm-hmm.
She helps conscious women leaders reclaim their feminine inner power without doubt or second guessing, so they can expand their possibilities to design a life on their terms. Annabelle is also a dragon queen and brings dragon energy into all her offerings. And recently, I saw one of her dragons that she made out of a piece of wood, and it's wow, it's amazing. So I
Yes.
hand you over to Annabelle.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. And I'm so pleased to be here. I'm so honored, and I feel so comfortable to be here with Kevin because we've been talking for a while with Kevin and about dragons, and how talking with you, Kevin, has helped me, make it more and more comfortable. So, for me, the dragon came to me in 2020, so not that long ago. And the way it came, first, yeah, it was all about, the spirituality, but then about coming to consciousness. So how it has come to consciousness, to my own consciousness. And I was on a sacred site for a few days myself, and then on the last day, before leaving the site, I picked up a few pieces of wood on the floor. I went, oh, I just feel like I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And it's all about following the intuition to decide, okay, oh, this looks good, and not knowing what's going to come after. And later on that day, I was camping, sitting with a friend. I said, oh, I've got these pieces of wood I want to put together. Let's just have a look what it is. And so I got all my pieces of wood together and went, oh, it's a dragon. And I'm like, for sure, it's a dragon. And it was, so that's how the dragon came to me. So it's going to be very different, to a lot of people. And then a lot of people I work with and people I'm around, they've seen my dragon sitting at the top of my, in my lounge room for many months, because then I went and met the dragon. And so that's how dragon energy has come to my consciousness, and now I've been cultivating it, since then. Um, so I'm just going to go back a little bit now, because just to explain about the spiritual journey. So as a child, I was brought up as a Catholic, going to church every weekend, and so I felt quite spiritual. I love being in the church. I love the sacred space, but I didn't listen to, I thought it was all too long to go to mass every weekend. I thought that was terrible. And then as a teenager, I was very confused. So as a teenager, I was very confused because spirituality for me there was so much discrepancy and misalignment between what I was taught, at church, going to church every weekend, and then what was happening in my environment, you know, and so and I just got very confused about all that. And then I had this deep experience, wanting to go into spirituality, and I just went, I'm Catholic. I don't want to be a nun. I don't want to give up sex. Forget that. And so I just kind of put it aside, and because it was bringing too much, and I just went into life, and went out in the world and had a good time and forgot about it, put it aside, and didn't, until I got married, and even going to church really rarely. So then, where does the dragon, spirituality, and religion, come all together? And so I feel that this is exactly what it is, you know. This is exactly what it is. It's a spiritual world. This is a world of spirit. This is the altered world. This is another world where it's a different timeline where all these beings are there, and we can communicate with that. And so to know that it's not limited. At the time, you know, at the time there was no internet, and I didn't go and look for other spiritual source really, and I just gave it all up. You know, I was young, and so I just gave it up. But there's all these different source of connecting with spirit. And in a way, I didn't go and choose, oh, I'm going to choose to work with dragons, you know. No. Dragons were not even part of my thinking, really, you know. I didn't have any relationship with dragons. In a Chinese horoscope, I'm a dragon, with an ascendant dragon as well. So I had a Chinese man did my chart, and I said, oh, you're very powerful. And I'm like, okay, maybe. and so that's what happened, you know. So the dragon came to me. And so it's all about being in a way of opening ourselves to the world, and to see, and to the element, and to be in prayer, to be in play, and to see what comes to us. So for me, in 2020, I separated from my husband, and I went into this world where I was gonna have to leave. I decided to leave all the things that were making me feel safe. So my husband, my marriage, being a family, and then to leave my home, you know, and to leave my neighborhood, and to do. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, you know. I was changing from being a homeopath, natural therapist, to become a life expansion expert. Life expansion expert is the same, you know. It came to me, and it's like, okay, if it's right, and at start, it's like, oh, am I kidding the world? Am I this life expansion expert? But the thing is, you know, from being and doing what I'm doing, I've become this life expansion expert. And so now it's probably, since I started to call myself a life expansion expert, I feel like I've become the life expansion expert. But for many years, you know, there are people who were like telling me, oh, who do you think you are, you know? And to say that you're not an expert, and what's life expansion, and so I am a life expansion expert, and I will tell you what is a life expansion expert. And a life expansion expert is to teach all how to expand our capacity to love. And so when we connect to the heart and we expand our capacity to love, you know, life become a much better place. Our everyday life become a much better place. So I was a bit of a lost soul, and then the dragons came and gave me this courage and this empowerment to go and do what I wanted to do. And from them on, I've been including the dragon in my work. So I go back again a little bit more, you know. For me, 2011 was a very difficult year. I mean, a lot of people got a lot of terrible things happening in 2011. And for me, it was to be diagnosed with breast cancer. So, you know, we have to have our wake-up call. So that was my wake-up call. And my health was really, you know, it wasn't too bad, but still, you know, I had to go through treatment. And then what happened is I did things to my body that my body was telling me to not do. And so there was a lot of for the treatments. And so there was a lot of misalignment between who I am and how I work, and then what I was doing to myself. And I felt, you know, as it was cancer, a lot of people were not wanting to give me advice. And so I went and did to my body against my own intuition and my own messages, and I did things that were not necessary probably at the time. It was like there was things that were good to do, but some were, it was in prevention of what we don't know what's going to come next. So yes, this intuition, of how to learn to follow our intuition is first to realize when we don't follow our intuition. Yeah. And so what happened when we don't follow our intuition? What are the messages that our body tells us, and how the body is talking to us and listening to those messages. And so to move from being a person who just functioned fully from the head, and to drop into the heart, and to open the heart to the different realms and to the spirit, and then to function in a whole different way, and to add to your world those different worlds. It's something that you build up slowly, and you do not have to have this huge experience. When somebody come to you and start talking about dragon is in your consciousness. And so if dragon comes in your consciousness, it's like, now, how you're going to use it, how it's going to happen, for you. And for sure, if you get help, this is better, so to be guided by someone that can help you with finding your dragon, and how your dragon can help you in your life, and then how you can pass it on to others, which is what we're all doing here. After all, it just came to us, and one day we were like, oh, and then we just go on working with it and following the guidance. After meeting my dragon, I signed up to a shamanic course, because I wanted to know what was happening to me. And I wasn't sure. And then I got into this group where there's all of us. We were all telling our stories, saying how spirit has come to us in all different ways, very unexpectedly, really, and through healings, through visions, for me. I made my drum. I made a drum. I got a beautiful drum. I might drum for you later. Do a little meditation, take you somewhere. And so I ended up there. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And so I went through amazing initiation through that course of finding my soul, and following my heart, and learning what are my powers and what can I do. And so when we started to do healings, rituals, and to connect to our spirit animal, for me it was obvious that the dragon came, like, it was amazing. The dragon was here with me, coming through me, and helping me in the healings. I've been a natural therapist for 15 years before that. So I've been into the healing for many years. And when I was in a session and I would start channeling, and I would be talking to my patient, the patient would go, and I go, wow, where did all that came from? It was like, I didn't think those words just came out of my mouth. It was like, wow, what happened to me? And so, so when I started to do the healings and the shamanic healings and work with the dragon, actually my first healing, it was so funny. Like, we were a little group of 3, and we were going to practice. And so as we got ready, my body started to do things that I didn't know I could do. And so I just let it. So I didn't think about it, I just let it. And so I started saging the space, preparing, and then I just went in, and I went in and I did the healing, and it would just come through, it was just amazing. And so when I finished, I was exhausted, and I was like, what did just happen? What did just happen to me? And my friends, they were like, the friend who was observing is like, oh my God, I feel like I just come out of a Indiana Jones movie, like with Meryl Streep. And it was just amazing. And that's what happened, that's what happened. I suddenly was able to, I was able to connect to that power that comes through me. And so we are channels, and so when we open our channels and we clean and we purify our channels of, letting the mind worry about the little things of every day, and really being worried about what's going to happen next, all these kind of things, all the little things that come in life that stop us from expanding beyond that, then we open, then we open. And for sure, what we need to do first is always to pause and be with the self. And so, from being outside to start to be in, and for sure, and then we open, and then it comes to us. So yes, for now, I think, do you have any question, Kevin? Is there anything, anywhere you want to take me? I'm going to talk next about dragon empowerment and how I've been learning through transference healing about dragon empowerment. But before, if you have any question, if you want to know something special, let me know.
There's no questions so far.
Okay. So I'm yes. So I want to talk about the transference healing that I haven't been really studying it. I've been with it, for a few years now, following this lady, and that's on her land that the dragon came to me, actually. So there's this lady, Alexis Cartwright. She's an Aussie lady. She's an Aussie channel. And she's been birthing this method, transference healing, and she talks about dragon power. She talks about a lot of things. Her book, I'll show you the book, Beyond Doorways, The Mystery Revealed, and she talks about dragon power and how dragon power is here to protect from fear and from disease. So to really clean and purify our DNA. So when we connect with the dragons come to us just by intention, bring it in. And so dragons are here to help us with disempowerment and disease, and giving too much of our energy to the wrong places. And so we can use that energy for our self-worth, and so to go beyond, if you've lost faith, and to connect to divine will. So dragons are here to really help us empower ourselves again, and to connect to divine will. So to open ourselves to know what is a divine will, what does the Creator has in store for us. It's not like we don't choose to do that. It's like we choose to go with it or not, for sure. And so is the transmission okay? And so yes, we choose what we do when we get the messages, and I think that's the empowerment part, and that as well, we get messages and then we act on it or not, So they're the quality of the divine feminine, of really connecting to our intuition, connecting to those messages. So the messages through the body, the messages come through the dreams, the dream world, and then acting on it. And so this is a huge moment, of going, okay, things happen to me, I hear things or I see things. We all have different gifts. So to really learn to develop your own gift and what comes to you. For me, I'm a gnostic, so I have a knowing. I know that I pick up something and it's good, and I just know that it's right. That's just it doesn't come really much through dreams, which actually this week I've been flying again in my dream, and that was amazing. So yes, but so things come. So you learn to develop your own gift, and then to act on it. And so acting is the sacred masculine, within ourselves, that something divinely comes down to us, and then we're going to act on it. We're going to ground it here in this earth, because after all, even though we love the dragons and we love the spirit's world, we still live here on earth. So how do we bring heaven to earth? And so that's and we're here in a body, so we need to look after that body as well. Yeah. So how do we do that? And the dragons are here to help us do that. And because they're the one who give us that energy of being able to connect to the intuition, and to connect to our to this knowing, and then they help us, putting it in. When I felt quite lonely and I knew I had this dragon with me, helping me, I just could do so much more. I could do so much more in my life, which I was just a housewife, really. I was a housewife with a practice was a bit of a hobby, and suddenly all these things been happening to me. I was like a lot of people out there who, and so all of this has come to me, and I've made a note of it. Like I haven't gone, oh no, yes, I'm just going to put it aside. It's like, how long should we put it aside until we decide, okay, now is the time? And for me, it was cancer, it was divorce, and they were the pieces in my life that helped me make that decision, to really go with it and to really act on it. So the first way I really used in my life the power of the dragon. So I went back, I got those pieces of wood, go back to the start of the story. I got those pieces of wood, and then I went to my friend. They had a workshop for homeschooled kids, to build things, and I went, oh, can I come to do the kids workshop and build my dragon? And I'm like, yeah, you can, like they were really not keen on it. And but I went anyway, and I put the dragon together, and so this is this was amazing. And I spent my a few hours putting the dragon together. I got help, and was like, wow. And I put it on a on a stand, and then I went and had lunch with the people, and I finished it later on, and then I left, and I had my dragon, and I felt like a little child who's been building these amazing things, and I felt so good, and I felt so strong. And as I'm leaving the property, my friend came to me and went, Annabelle, what is going on with you? You need to go and get yourself a job. What are you doing here? She was insulting me, like really. You're making a dragon. What you've lost your mind, and you just need to go and get a job and work. And I'm like, and I remember being shocked, because I highly, was looking at this woman from a high place, and suddenly she was abusing me, and she just wouldn't understand what was happening to me. And so this is what's going to happen, on this path of choosing to listen to the messages and to go and do things different. This is something that's going to come a lot. And so the power of the dragon is what's going to help you stay anchored within your own being, within your own possibilities, within your own power. And I remember driving off the property and having my dragon on the back seat and going, yeah, let's go. Bye. And so the dragon power was already in me. The dragon power was already coming to me by having this relationship with it, and so then I found Kev, and I gave a name to my dragon, which later on I found out was a brand of Chinese cigar. There you go. Because I mean, the Chinese, there are lots of the Chinese, really look up to the dragons. And I decided that my dragon was going to help me write. So same again, you know, I was guided to write. And I'm French, and I've been in Australia for almost 30 years now, and my English is good. But you know, I thought, and I'm dyslexic. You know, I read really slowly, and so I thought, I can't write. And I remember it was a message from the moon on the full moon, which we have to tonight or today, you know, it's the full moon. And so what is the moon telling you? And how did I remember getting this message from the moon and going like, no, I can't write, you know, no, I cannot write. But then a few months later, meeting this lady who organized to write multi-authors books, and she said, "Oh, but you know, you come and you write just one chapter," and I'm like, "Oh, one chapter? Maybe I can do that." And so I signed up, and really, yes, it was. And I thought, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I just had faith, you know. Somewhere I had faith. You know, there was all the belief. So there was all what the mind was telling me, and the belief that I'm dyslexic, I can't write, I don't like writing, da 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 da. And then there was this knowing that, and it's a message, you know, to listen. This is good for you. Just do that. Actually, I didn't keep one of my book close to show you, but I've written now in 3 books. And the first one was Sacred Rebel, Women Who Dare to Disrupt, which I've been loving doing all my life. And disrupting, you know, what everybody else does, really, and go, no, I go and do my own things. And then the second one is a clickety-clack, how to live a peace-filled life in this seemingly toxic world, which we are living in a very toxic world. And so how do we live a peaceful life? What do we do? How do we manage and handle, you know, what to do while everybody is doing things that, you know, maybe are not that good for you? And then the third one, and the last one, which when I said yes to it, I thought, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And it's called Warriors of Light, Leaders of the Great Awakening. And I took on the challenge to write in that book and to become that. You know, I didn't feel when I said yes to the book that I'm a warrior of light, that I'm a leader of the Great Awakening. And then I took on the challenge to do it. And I sat and I wrote my book, and I wrote my story about how dragons has come to me, how shamanism has come to me, how my spiritual world has fully evolved in a new, you know, fully new perspective that what I had in my head made from my culture. And then this is what's been happening to me, you know. So yes, and so I've been writing, and I had a book launch where I live I live in a very cute little town in Australia. Lots of activity, lots of people, and lots of events. And I had a book launch, and that went really well. And then I applied. They have a Readers Writer Festival, which is quite big, and I applied to present my book at the festival. They have a local authors tent, and so I was selected to present my book, and I was selected to. It was all about religion, you know. It was all about religion because I was mixed. I was on a panel with 2 men. And so the other man who was presenting his book is a minister, is an Anglican church minister, who's, you know, is still a minister, but not in a strict way. He has his own church, really, because he's divorced and remarried, and he was booed by the church as being a bad man. And then the other person who was the MC for us used to be a Catholic priest, but found out he's homosexual, and you know, so he divorced the church and married a man, and is very strongly being himself and following his own authority. And so that's a big piece that came in the panel that we were talking about. who's the authority that you follow? And I went, you have to follow your own authority. I mean, for sure, you got to follow the law. And, if you do something wrong, that guilt is good to have. If you've done something is really wrong, you will feel guilty, and it's okay. But to say to people, you're born guilty as a baby, I don't think that's really creating a lot of good in the world. And so, so how do you follow your own authority? How do you follow your own messages, your own body? You need to be really closely connected to all of that. And so when we are so distracted by what's happening on the outside, which is what the world's doing for us, then we you need to really take time to go in and listen in. And so that was amazing to be part of that discussion. And so I tell you what happened, how I've been writing and who's been helping me write. So when I started writing my first book, I had my dragon in the lounge room, and I went, okay, I'm going to call you Shakespeare and you're going to help me write. And I did. And I just did it. And I connected to the dragon as being Shakespeare coming through me. It's funny how I chose Shakespeare. I can't even read Shakespeare. I never studied Shakespeare. And I thought, but you look a bit weird, and I think you look like a Shakespeare. It was really funny, this dragon. And that's how I've been writing, and I've been writing more by channeling what needs to be said, how I need to express myself in this world to really bring peace and love, and to bring a world where we feel empowered enough that we move out of that fear. If you look at the world, at the state of the world now, how much people are so scared, how much people live in fear. I mean, America, how many people in America have to wear guns, to think to be safe? I mean, when you wear a gun, you give energy to war. You don't give energy to peace. That's not how you make peace, and that's not how you cultivate a peaceful environment, by buying a gun and feeling, and entertaining this mentality of feeling so scared and unsafe. And I mean, in France, when I lived in France, there was a lot of that. This is one of the main reasons I left France. I met my ex, my husband, and we were together for 27 years, and so it was beautiful. He's a beautiful man, and I met him. But really, why did I want to leave France so much? I felt very unsafe there. But at the time, and then I came to Australia, and I realized when I did this work how anxious I was about so many things. And yes, and so now I feel like with the dragon energy that come to me, it's been really helping me to move beyond and to expand, my possibilities. And so I teach that, and I help others do that as well. And I love it. And in my session, I do a lot of meditation, and I call it meditation ascension sessions, to really help my clients to go into this other world and find what works for them, and then to cultivate that. And so cultivating that bit, like doing altars. I love to do altars, and today I did this altar. I don't know if I'm going to be able to turn it and show you. I've got an altar there for the Dragon Summit today, and so the altar has been on, and so to have a place, a sacred space, where you can go in and you can, and it just holds space for you. The space holds you, and you hold yourself within that space of prayer and of really expressing what it is that you want to bring in the world. But really, the most things you want to do is to develop your gift, the gift that's already in you. And so when you do that, it's just easier because it's natural. So this is what we want to do. We've been like wanting to comply to society, to the rules, to all that. And we are squeezed into that space. It's like you're squeezed to be small and to be compliant and to just do as you're told and all these things. And you just want to expand that. You want to get out of there. And so you can do that by, going in and finding your own power and finding your gift and how you can bring your gift to others, which is through art, a lot of creativity, seeing, hearing. And so to be able to see, to hear, to know, you need to go quiet, because there's too much noise. You're not going to hear the messages, you're not going to be able to go into that space of expansion to the other world. Yes, practice and prayer and play. So I've been following Richard Rudd and the Gene Key, and I've been studying the Gene Key for a few years now. And Gene Keys came to me through Blue. She's a beautiful lady. You find the Deja Blue podcast, and so she introduced me to Gene Keys. And when you study Gene Keys, you study your own shadow, and you use the gift, to go into your light. And so you face yourself, you face your own shadow, and you learn about yourself and about facing your shadow. When I left my husband in 2020, and when I had cancer, I had to face my shadow. I had to to move out of there. I had to know all those parts of me that what was I doing that took me to that place where it was so uncomfortable and I was so unhappy. I was so sad. I was so sad, and so I had to face my shadows, and I had to face all my sabotage system. And these things is what I talk about in my first book, Sacred Rebel, Women Who Dare to Disrupt. And because it's very difficult to learn to face how shadow and what we do that is really not serving anyone, especially ourselves, and to know, okay, that's what I do, and to be okay with it, and to love that part. And and it's good to be supported through that. And so really I went through this full on death and rebirth process. And so but my deconditioning, was really to learn about myself, and to learn about what have I learned to do, how am I reacting to life in a way that is not serving me and is not serving the people around. I realized that I wasn't expressing a lot of what I was feeling. I was mostly reacting to life, and spending a lot of time being in resentment, to not being able to communicate properly, and to just be reacting to others instead of being within myself. So yes. And so to have much time, I think we're gonna get to the end, maybe a few more minutes. So I thought what I really wanted to do, if there is any question, I'll take question. And what I'd like to do is to really guide you very short little meditation, and to do the Dragon Empowerment procedure, which I've learned through Alexis Cartwright, and which is, a way to connect to your empowerment and to your own power, to really change your DNA and start changing your DNA, and give you the power to get out of the conditioning, to get out of the fear, to get out of disease. And then disease comes to us, and then we give all this energy and all this money into the disease, and we get into the system, and the system gives us more medication and more this and more that, and we just fully lost in there. And after I had breast cancer, really, I got a bit lost there for a while, and the result was I was a very unhappy person, and I didn't know what to do. So it took me years, and before I became who I am now, I had to be really unhappy for quite a while, and in a deep depression, not being able to function very well. So yes, slowly, sometimes we have to go there before we go on the other side. And then I had to face all these shadows of mine and all these things and learn. And so through the Gene Key, I was able to really, that's what I love about the Gene Key. You don't just look in the shadow. You don't just look in the shadow and stay in the shadow, because a lot of people do that as well. They start facing the shadow and then they're just fighting the shadow. You know, it's the wrong energy. You don't fight your shadow. You just love your shadow. And so, and then they stay there fighting the shadow. And then 10 years later, they're still fighting the shadow and they think they've done it all. But you want to go into the love. And so you need to love and you need to bring the gift. And that's why the gift is so, you know, when we study our keys, all those different places in us to have a gift, to look. And so my core one was the 49 gene key, which is about the shadow of reaction, the gift of revolution, and the CD, which is a light, higher state of rebirth, and which is exactly what I've done for myself. I've rebirthed myself. I'm a fully new person. You know, people see me and go, "Oh, you're different." And I do feel different. And so I've been guided. You know, I didn't do it all like that. And I've been practicing, you know, practicing every day with my prayers, with my commitment to my own healing and to my commitment to help others and to help, you know, bring and transform the world and you know, out of this fear as well. I got myself out of fear. Now I want to teach others to be out of the fear and the fear of the future, the uncertainty of the future, and open to receive what are the gifts that live within us. And then how can we go and make a change in the world? Because you can do that too, because it's in you, you know. And so even if you've been feeling stuck or you feel that life is too hard and the world is chaos and it's horrible, you have the possibility, to do that. So let's take a comfortable seat and just, I'll do the dragon procedure for you. And so just take a comfortable seat and feel the seat, feel your body on the chair, feel your feet on the floor. Closing your eyes now if you haven't yet, and taking 3 deep breaths. Breathing in through your nose, deeply, and out through the mouth. Letting go. And again, deep breath in through your nose. And and one more time, deep breath in. Opening the heart and and then we're bringing all of our attention from our mind into our heart. Opening the heart and feeling the little flame that lives within our heart. And so let's travel the little light going down. So we anchor into the earth, going down to the solar plexus, down in the belly. The little flame is traveling down the hips, down the leg, down our feet, and into the earth, bringing beautiful silver roots into the earth and connecting to the earth, Mama Earth, and is here, and beautiful energy that it is to feed us. And we can feel love, we can feel supported, and we can be fed, you know, and we can be cradled in this energy. And then our attention comes back to our heart, and then we're going to connect to the divine, and the little flame is going to travel up to the throat, up to the third eye, up to the crown chakra, and then up to the divine, to our soul star chakra, and connecting to the divine. And then we can open our column of light that's traveling from the earth up to the divine, and we are this little column of light. We can expand. And then maybe you can have one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. And just breathe deeply there while I do the dragon procedure for you. And then feel the power of the dragon coming within your body, within your cell, within your own DNA, clearing you from disease, bringing light. Feel the union of the divine feminine and the sacred masculine within your own body, so you can bring an earth and anchor in this world all your gift and all the messages that comes from the divine. Let divine will come through you. Let's open your being to divine will. And let's see if you have any messages from the moon, anything that comes to you now before slowly coming back to the room. Maybe we can rub our hands, create some heat, and just do our face and just hold ourselves kindly and give ourselves a big hug of love, and then come back to the room. So at the end of the day, it's very simple. What we need to give ourselves so we can help others. It's a lot of love. We need to stop hoping that the love comes from others, and we need to give the love to ourselves. Be kind and gentle with ourselves, and start a little space of prayer to connect within and to love ourselves and all the parts of ourselves. And the dragons are here to help us. So thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful.